Peace. Thank y'all so much for the love and support we got for episode 200 of Real Notes. It really means the world that so many people have been fucking with me for this long, and that even more showed up to hear this episode with Open Mike Eagle. Peace to him, by the way. Like, great guest, fantastic conversation. I'm gonna say all this again, so I'm not gonna dwell too much. But I wanted to give a little bit of context into how this episode of On With Evidence came about. So Evidence was recording on this from his phone, and the program I used to record these interviews, called Riverside, is kind of a battery suck. So throughout, his phone kept dying, and he kept coming back into the room. To his credit, like, he really worked with me as well as he could. He did have somewhere else to go, so the interview kind of ends abruptly. So we didn't get to like properly finish it, but like I said, no hard feelings, no bad blood. That's just, just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. It'll be most noticeable in the video version, which I have a Patreon, and all the videos are exclusive to there. So, like, subscribe, please. Link in the description. I had to manually stitch this episode together because of the dropouts, like all the footage uploaded in pieces. So I had to like Frankenstein stitch this whole interview together. It's very noticeable in the video version, but only slightly noticeable in the audio version. I just wanted to put that out there in case people were like wondering why things sound or look a little choppy. Like, I had to put in a little bit more work than usual to like make this listenable, and I wouldn't put this out if I didn't think it was like worth everyone's time. So, like, thank y'all for bearing with me. Thanks to Evidence again for coming on. Like, hopefully we get to talk again whenever he swings by New York. But yeah, please enjoy. Peace. Peace. My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is California rapper, producer, 1/3 of Dilated Peoples, and head of Bigger Picture Recordings, Evidence. We spoke about the phenomenon of watching whatever's on TV at the moment, The Godfather Part II, White Chicks, the romantic sports coming-of-age movie Lucas, movie theaters as cultural hubs, growing up before and during the rise of hip-hop, his love for producing and photography, moving on from the Weatherman character, and the creative process behind his upcoming album Unlearning Volume 2, out August 15th on Rhymesayers. Come fuck with us. Do your shit. Yeah, nah, this is like this is like the least corporate. I'm just me, man. Do your thing.
Okay. Let's go.
I was gonna say I feel you on the barber, or I feel you as much as I can feel you on the barbershop tip. I haven't as you can probably tell, I haven't gotten a haircut in like 20 years, but
Nah, he had another client coming in. He started late. The guy was like pressuring him. The next guy, I had you, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull up later. He's like, you would be helping me out so much. I was like, all right.
Everyone's wires are crossed today, son. It is what it is, Yeah, no, the last time I went to the barber, I got
You don't even get shape ups, nothing. You do everything yourself.
I got a shape up the last time I went to the barber. It was funny enough. It was last summer. Usually I do the shape up myself.
You there?
But I was like, oh yeah, I'm here.
We lost connection. Hold on. Let me open my door because sometimes that'll help.
Got you.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, nah. As long as you can hear me, we're straight.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, nah. Usually I do shape ups myself, but this one I was like hosting a thing, and I was like, let me go get a nice shape up, and
it feels better,
like,
man. Come on.
It does, yeah. No, I don't got the professional work at home. It's just like the standard, like it's just like a little Remington buzzer, just like real basic type shit.
But you feel official for like 2 days, man. You feel golden.
Yeah, that's real. And then like they tried to. Sometimes barbers will come to you with like, oh, you want like the face spray to like make it look like it's fuller than it actually is, and it's just like,
oh, see, I can't even grow a beard, so I don't even know. I envy that. I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it's a good problem. It's a good problem to have. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it. I love my beard. It's not like fully done up because like I've also been running around like three types of crazy today. But you know, but but yeah, nah. Like I'm gonna just do this drop real quick,
Okay,
and then we can just and then we can just get right into it. This is all like movies and rap music. That's what we're here to talk about today.
tight. I don't know
Fire.
nothing, so that's better.
Hell yeah, bro. Me either.
Because
You know,
once they
we're
have you
just
doing press, they have you lining up doing mad shit. So if I know too much about it, I don't like it. So this is good.
word. Yeah, yeah, nah, let's just go in blind and cold.
Cool.
What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. Um wow, I just realized this is the first episode after the 200th one. So everybody who gave me love for the 200th, thank you so much. Thank you to Open Mike Eagle for being here for the last one. Just thank you to like every patron, every supporter, just like people who came in and listened on a whim. Like y'all are really doing me a solid, and this is my baby, so it means a lot that people are here and support and
How long
do
you been
good
doing
shit.
this? How long you been
Uh,
running it?
4.5 years, bro.
Crazy, 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 crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
when
man.
they set up press, they give you like because I don't want to just take everything. So I was looking at the stuff, and then I saw all the like minded things to things that I like that you've covered. So I was like, let's do
Mm-hmm.
this one, please. You know what I mean, or whatever. So that's beautiful.
That means a lot, man. Yeah, no, like I was like when I reached out to Nick and Dana, I was like going through my backlogs and I was like, yeah, let me send the Sage one, let me send the Damo Genesis one. I was like, let me just
Yeah.
see this
Speaking
properly
my
and roll out
language.
the record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nah, because like these are my people, they're your people. Like when I heard there was a new album coming, I was like, I've been wanting to have you on here for a while, so I think it's time to try and reach out. And like, wait, I gotta lay it down real quick. Um, California, specifically Venice Beach, rapper producer, 1/3 of Dilated Peoples, the Weatherman, Mr. Slow Flow. He's a photographer. I'm sure a lot of y'all knew that already. He's a traveling man. Even when he's outside, he's in here. You know, y'all will get y'all will get that bar in like a month or so when this
That's
album
Al's
comes
favorite.
out.
That's Alchemist's new motto in life, even when I'm outside.
Oh, word.
I mean, yeah, he's like, I hate you for that. It's so short words to say something really cool.
Right. And those are the best rhymes, man. But we got evidence in the house, man. This is a cool one. This is a really fucking cool one. Unlearning Volume 2 will be out on August 15th. This is gonna be out like a month before the album drops. But like
Okay,
um
so
but yeah, man, like Ev, I mean, like y'all, like people listening didn't hear it, but I accidentally caught you while you were in the barber chair right before we hopped on. So thank you for, thank you for coordinating with me to make this happen.
no, I apologize for being late. It would have been whack if I was doing it in a barber chair. So I'm glad we put half hour later onto it. And I'm here.
Yeah, nah, of course.
I get to have a joint. I was stressed out all morning, so taking care of the kids. So this is nice.
Of course, yeah. Nah, shout out to Enzo too.
Word up,
It's
word up.
always fun seeing him around. Like I was doing research yesterday and watching a bunch of interviews, and like he shows up in probably about 60% of them. It's just very cute to just be like, "Oh, say peace," like.
He's a real one.
Yeah, truly. But yeah, Ev, thank you so much for being here. I've been a fan for I don't even know how long at this point. I've been listening to Whether or Not a lot the last like
Okay,
2 weeks, 3 weeks. But
okay.
like it's just very cool to see you back out and still hungry and grinding. And this album is great. So I was like I said when it came across my desk, I was like, we got to make this happen. So thank you for being here. It means a lot to
Nah,
be.
yeah, me too though, for real.
Oh man, thank you. But yeah, let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
TV show. TV shows. I'm not a TV watcher anymore, so I don't. There's no time for TV in my day. I do put it on before I go to bed sometime, even though probably not the best way to fall asleep. Just like the white noise of it, or just the relax, the old schoolness of it. I like. So
Mm-hmm.
Food Network. You know, I, I don't even know if that's dope anymore. It's just like wasting food and shit. But you know, I like the competition aspect of it. A lot of chefs like going on time limits, doing chopped and shit like that, where it's like I can relate to the pressure. And you know, food is an art, the way people prepare food. So yeah, Food Network is pretty good. And then movies, you know, there's a thing about movies that I realize it's similar to music, that it's like a phenomenon with me, and I don't know if anyone else does this, but I wouldn't be surprised, just because we're human. Is like let's say I like Godfather 2, right? And
Yeah.
I could access it anytime. I can go to HBO and I can stream it and just watch it anytime. But I never will, ever, ever, ever. But if I'm changing the channels and it's on, I will always watch it. And so I think it's the same thing with the radio, whereas like a lot of songs that I wouldn't listen to per se, even if I have them in my phone saved already, I might not just go to them and like choose it. But when it's chosen by somebody else, like, and there's a communal aspect, you know, other people are watching or listening, or somebody else has selected it, like a DJ or a VJ or whatever, I tune
Mm-hmm.
in. I don't know what that is, why. I don't know why, but I do. And it's like I think it's because other people are also watching it, or I think because it's selected like a DJ, then I choose to listen to it versus like a song that I have saved in my phone I could play anytime, I just won't. And so there's something about like when things are being broadcast to me, I like it more than when I just choose to seek it out. So the last movie would be whatever was on HBO last night or the night. Superman. Actually, I watched it. I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah. But I don't think I will watch Superman. Is my point.
Right. Which Superman was it?
One. It was one.
Oh, like the OG, the first. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I think because they have a new one coming out, they're running the old ones or something. You know.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm actually about to go catch the new one later tonight just for shits. You know, I'm not even
Right.
like a Superman dude like that, but it's just like it's hot outside. I'm just trying to go catch some like free industrial grade air conditioning for like two
Let's
and a
go.
half hours, you know, or however long. But I wanna touch on that point that you made about like stuff kind of being put in front of your face and it being appealing, because I mean like I'm
What's
trying
the
to
phenomenon in that? I always wondered.
yeah, I don't. I mean, like, I don't know. Like to me, or actually, I think I have a theory. It's just like, like it's a little different when it comes to a TV channel because like those are just kind of like programmed and just kind of happen whenever they happen. But like when it comes to music and like somebody on the radio or like somebody like making like a playlist or it's like a lot radio DJ set or like or like an NTS type situation. It's like somebody
Yeah,
chose
it could be
this.
Spotify streaming playlist. It could be that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. But
Right. Like somebody chose that. And it's like
right.
it gives you for me it like gives you a little peek into their not even like their mind specifically, but just like this is what I'm on today. And it just like them choosing that kind of colors that song in a different way than it might if it was just like, oh yeah, like I want to go
It's
find
it's
yeah.
that, but it's something deeper in the sense that I have Godfather 2, and I would not pull that up. But why do I watch it when it's there? I don't know. It could be the first
Yeah.
joint of the day.
Maybe, because like the last time that happened to me, or no, one of the most memorable times was was White Chicks. So like when White Chicks first came
You're
out,
not just gonna go pull up White Chicks or put the DVD in because you have it. Like you ain't doing
like
it.
you see, but like here's the crazy shit. So the first time I saw White Chicks, it was me and my homie Solomon and my dad. He took the two of us to go see it when it first came out. I think I've told this story a couple times. So anybody who's heard it, I'm sorry, but like we saw the movie and then we made it. I want to say like 2/3 of the way through, and then my grandmother was in the hospital, so we had to leave and just go dip and go to her immediately.
Okay.
So we didn't see the ending of the movie. But then I want to say like however long ago or however long after when the joint came out on TV, when the channels would just run movies all the time, like I would always come in and watch the movie at a different point. It would either be like the beginning of the movie, or like 45 minutes in, or with 20 minutes left, or like halfway through, or like the scene where Terry Crews and Marlon Wayans are at the table and he's ordering food while dressed up like the white lady. I've to this day I've never seen White Chicks all the way through, like start to finish. I've seen the whole movie, but never in one sitting. But it's
Crazy.
like, if it's on, I'm gonna watch White Chicks. Like, it's that's just it, you know.
That's what
It's
I'm
not
saying. There's
Godfather
something
2.
about it. Somebody in the comments or whatever, however people respond to this, they have the answer.
Yeah, yeah. I wanna know the answer too. I've done. This is the 201st episode of this podcast, and I've never asked people to post something in the comments. So please do that, y'all. Like, I know the Ev fans in here will answer that question good. So please do that.
Yeah, put me up on.
Shit. Yeah, please. But
Why am I
before.
watching Get Rich or Die Trying again?
Yeah, no. What? Why am I watching Liam Neeson's Dark Man and shit? Like, just on and shit. I wanted to. I mean, like, why Godfather 2? Like, why was that the first place
Just
your
on
mind went?
HBO a lot. Get Rich or Die Trying, Godfather 2, Boogie Nights. These are
Yeah,
like they're just on. They're just on all the time.
yeah. Right. I mean, like Boogie Nights is an essential. Like, that's one of those. Like, I'm gonna watch Boogie Nights all the way through. If I, well, it's a long movie, but like, if I'm in the mood, I'm trying to watch Dirk Diggler do his thing and watch Don Cheadle get shot up at the coffee shop or whatever.
Fire.
Personally, but I want to take it all the way back with you with your viewing history, Ev. What's the first movie experience you could ever remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house, just like the first one that comes to mind for you.
Think. Okay, so my friend. Well, my first one was it was bad because it was like my friend's mom, she was like eclectic avant-garde and she took us to like an independent movie theater and it was probably some like movie on jazz or like something that I would like now that I just couldn't stomach at the time and I was just like this sucks. I have to sit here for 2 hours and watch this gigantic. You know what I mean? I think I fell asleep. And then I think came Star Wars, maybe the second one or something like that. And then I
Right,
had a really good experience. So it was probably just the thing when I was 12 or when it 12 or 13, maybe 11, I don't somewhere in that window there was like a time where I was probably allowed to go out with my friends to a movie getting dropped off and picked up or something like that. And those were probably the best times like experiencing it without a parent, whatever that movie was at the time.
right.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those at all or not?
E.T. I remember that. These
Yeah,
I'm young. That was probably with my parents. But like when I started, there was a thing called Westwood, which is by UCLA, which is where like a lot of kids on the weekends in middle school would go, like a little like a 2 mile square radius with shops and movies, and people would be doing crazy shit. And those were like you would go to a movie and then like chill in Westwood and go to Carl's Jr. or something, kick it.
yeah.
Um, so like that time, I remember like a lot of big movies coming out around then. But I think, if you were a girl, you were trying to hopefully get a kiss in or make out or do something. It was like the movie was like a thing to be at. It wasn't always about the movie per se, you know?
Right. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, totally. Nah.
yeah, yeah,
It was like, it was either like I was saying before with Superman. Like, if it's summertime and it's hot, like, you just go to the movies to like cool off for 2 hours, or like you kick
yeah.
it with friends, or kick it with a lady, or a guy, or whoever. Like
Whatever
that's
it
like,
is, it was,
yeah,
it was a young place before the internet. It's just different for
right,
my
yeah,
for my
no, but
young first impressionable times of movies.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I have the same thoughts because, like, I still go to the mall near that I've been going to my whole life, damn near, to like go see movies, and I just kind of look at the mall and like the makeup of like the people there, and like it's still like there was like a period of time where people thought that like the mall was dying, or like the mall as a concept. Like, some of them are kind of on their way out, but like
Some are, yeah.
at the ones near me, like, it's still plenty of kids just like running around doing their
Where are
thing.
you at?
Like, I'm in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
it's what happened?
I said, no, no, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh yeah, no,
I was just plugging in my
yeah.
phone, making sure I don't die.
Got you. Yeah, no. Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. Riverside sucks battery like a motherfucker. But yeah, it's just like just people, you can tell people are there like on dates, or they're like there to meet friends, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're going to see like Elio or whatever, but like really it's just about like meeting at the mall to like nosh on tacos with the homies.
Yep, exactly.
Those moments really, as much as I love movies, like those were the moments that really did that for us.
Sorry about that, real quick. Just
No,
proving
man.
that we're really live. We're really doing this.
um but like, so like I mean, like you mentioned earlier this like independent film that you may or may not have gone to see at some point. As you get older, you start to like refine your palate and just like have more life experiences. I like to think of this next one as a capital M movie, like one that really kind of connected with you in a an emotional or artistic or spiritual sense, like that was more than just 90 minutes of pure entertainment.
Do people pause on this question usually
Yeah,
and take a second to think about it?
they do.
Yeah. Oh man, for so many different reasons, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I like it to be open ended
There
because
was there was like a lot of like corny movies that really like touched me as a kid because I was like probably like at that time, you know what I mean, where I was just growing up, learning shit, But like I fucked with Lucas.
uh-huh.
There's a movie called Lucas. That
For
was a
pe-
big one.
for people for oh, I know what this. I'm looking at this shit right now. Tell people about why you fucked with Lucas.
Because it was just like the underdog bottom kid, just who never could get the chick. You know what I mean? Who just has no chance of nothing. Finding moments of greatness
Hmm.
through adversity. It was like the story you couldn't help but like. It's like the first time at the end of it, you heard of a slow clap. You know what the slow clap is, right?
Of course, yeah,
The '80s movie slow clap, where it's like one kid in the hallway like claps real slow, and then like
yeah.
the whole grade starts coming, and it turns into a fast like roar. I think that was the first movie I ever saw like a slow clap, where like somebody claps for him slow, and then everyone else kind of catches the cue, and then
Wow.
that clap turns into like an enormous eruption of joy for Lucas.
That's special. That's special because like I'm like, it's really hard it's really easy to take stuff like that for granted, where it's just like, oh yeah, like this like little trope that's in like every movie ever, and like and, like it feels corny, but it's like that shit
No, it
like,
started fresh. It got corny later. It was fresh at the beginning.
right. But like cliches become cliches because they're effective and they work, and like everybody knows, like
Exactly.
young or old, they just know like that's just like the thing. It's even worse when I think about it, and it's like somebody's sitting at a table and they start slow clapping as they get up, and they're like smiling, but like but like they're the only person who does it, and they look around and it's embarrassed. Like shit like that always
Now this
makes me
was the
laugh.
authentic slow clap. I challenge someone find me a slow clap before that one. Colors was big, but also, oh yeah, for me the movies that were really big were Breaking, Beat Street, Wild Style, Crush Groove, all the hip hop movies.
Right.
Even though I got to see some of them in theaters and then some of them later. I don't know if I saw all of them in real time, but that was huge to me also.
Which of those was the first you got to see?
I think Beat Street and then Breaking. Breaking was not as good, but it was based on the West Coast, so it was more like pop locking based first Breaking,
Right.
and so like it was like a runoff of Beat Street, but like with palm trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, like y'all were coming up at that time, and like that shit is very
I was too
important.
young. That's what made me. What I liked about that was I lived in
Right.
Venice Beach. People were breaking in Venice Beach. Graffiti was at Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Wild shit was happening. When I saw the movie, it was like, oh, that's just reaffirming that it doesn't just happen in New York. We do that here too. It was a reaffirmation of like what I was seeing on was also like universally happening in other places. I knew New York was the mecca of it, but I don't know. It was just dope to see it happening on the West Coast also, or
Right.
or see how it was running. Uh, and there was a lot of spin-offs around those, like rapping and other ones that weren't as good. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So was this before or after you started doing graft?
No, I'm too young. I'm way young, like
Okay.
8 years old type
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean, or
Yeah.
6 years old or whatever. But I saw it at the beach when I would go to the beach. I would see that. You know what I mean? So it was like, to me, it was like, oh, the movies they're in my neighborhood too. It was like saying that the movies existed in my neighborhood. Like I could say, oh yeah, yeah, that happens here too. And
Mm.
that's why it was dope to me.
Right. Yeah, no, I've never seen. I think that's one of those like older rap movies that I haven't seen. I've heard a lot about it. I just haven't gotten like the chance to find it. And it's one that like
Yeah,
it's been.
Breaking One was good. Breaking
Yeah.
One was good. Two was kind of not as good, but it was still, they were trying.
Yeah. And like at that time, like trying was kind of worth its weight in gold. And like breaking, like I know the legacy of it. It's just one that I never get the chance to like sit down and watch it. Like I've seen Crush Groove, I've seen Wild Style, and like being like right outside New York City, like all that stuff is like, it's like very
Yeah,
much
that's
like
like resonates. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
like it's like super duper evangelized out here. But it's like you said, it's different to have it happen like at home, and for it to just be acknowledged that, like you said, like, hey, this is happening here, and I'm seeing it, and now other people know it too, and it's cool,
yeah, yeah.
and it's cool. Um, so
And rap wasn't pop, or the culture wasn't pop. You got to understand, it was
oh
like
yeah,
only for the people that knew what was going on.
right, total, yeah, no, totally, like like it was. I feel like pure is the wrong word, but it was like undiluted. It like wasn't from concentrate, like it was just like the.
Yeah, definitely not. The drugs were not stepped on. It was at the point where they were on the tree still, or just falling.
I want to do the same thing for music for you real quick. What so like when did music become capital M music for you? Like not even in terms of you wanting to make music, but like when did you first become fascinated by it? Was it around the time that you saw like break-in and everything like that, or before?
Not my parents for sure, for sure. Yeah, music was around a lot. And on my mom's side, one way, and my dad's similar but a different way. The music was loud always. So my dad was wilding out, partying hard and that type of lifestyle. And then my parents were together for a short period of time when after I was born, and then they split. But I would see my dad on weekends, and the typical story types thing or whatever. So his life was
Mm-hmm.
more like calm it down for my son. Now that I'm a father, he was just calming it down on the weekends for me a little bit, and then turning back up when he dropped me off. But the yo, I'm doing this still. Oh, Otto's here. Okay. He's been here. All right. You want to say peace to everybody real quick? No. Good. Um, his friend pulled up. So the music was loud, and like there was everyone partying and stuff, and I liked all of it. And then my mom's music was a little different, but I just liked music off the rip. My dad was playing Michael Jackson. He was playing Foreigner. He was playing a lot of rock shit. Some into like the disco time a little bit probably. And then my mom was playing Beatles a lot, and she was playing Aretha Franklin a lot, and she was playing dope shit to me that I liked better. but I liked all of it. And I even remember I was at a party like that my dad was having. I was somewhere, and there was a they were probably high as shit, but there was a girl my dad's age right in front of, like, there was a fireplace and there was music playing and she was jumping up and down, just just jumping up and down. And I was, in my mind, I was looking at her like crazy, like, what are you doing? And she said, I'm dancing. And I said, that's not dancing. And then she said, that's what the rock stars do. And I was
Mm.
like, oh, well, goddamn. Well, pardon me. You know, it was like, it was a big moment where I was like, oh, okay. And so that was like ingrained in me, like, okay, you can jump up and down to music. This is crazy. Like, and it just was like, it was electric to me. And then after all that, I started getting into the music at the beach, which was people dancing, but they weren't dancing to like all hip hop shit. They were dancing to Paul Hardcastle, Vietnam. They were dancing to fucking Apache. They were dancing to like breaks and shit. It wasn't all like rap music that the
Right.
break dancers were dancing to. And but then shortly after that came the late 80s, and then around that it was just, I knew Run DMC already. I knew like the early 80s stuff, but like the late
Mm-hmm.
80s, Special Ed, EPMD, um, early beginnings of NWA, like all that time right there, Yo MTV Raps was really where I was like, oh, this is it. Then it really fucked me up when I heard like Third Base,
Mm.
Gas Face, and it was Aretha Franklin song that my mom played every morning. And I was like, oh, no shit. Like, they're taking that. No way. Like, I understood sampling better. You know what I mean? And it was like,
Right.
it all had a weird connection. You know what I mean? And so it was like, I really got into it. And then the big capital M happened because got lucky. When my parents divorced, we moved to Venice.
Yep.
And I got lucky and moved next to QD3,
Yep.
who is Quincy Jones' son and a renowned producer who's produced Ghetto Bird for Ice Cube, To Live and Die in LA for Tupac. Like, we could just go on and on and on and on with him. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to literally watch rappers come over and rap. He'd let me kick it over there. And that shaped everything. You know what I'm saying? That was like, oh, now this is it.
Oh yeah, like I can only imagine because like I'm like I want to highlight how
Yeah.
special it is that you got like you kind of got that taste of music and life right before rap really exploded the way it did, and then you got to hear it happen, and then you like very shortly after just like dive into the whole just like I'm gonna be at the studio with somebody who like actively makes music and is like
Well, yeah, I was young. He would let me draw my graffiti book. I could drink some, maybe sip a 40 over there, and I could just be
right.
sneak out of my house. It was like just, heaven. And then you got to remember, it's like you're young and impressionable, but like famous rappers are pulling up in the driveway next to your house. So it's
Of
just
course.
like, what the fuck is going on? He always got a really good looking girl, a chick. It's always just like, this is the way. You know what I mean? And then studios aren't a thing. There's no Pro Tools yet,
Right.
none of that. And so somebody who has a studio is just on another level, even to begin with. So that meant, then my friend Alan, who's the alchemist,
Mm.
didn't want to sleep over because maybe we could go over there. Like, will.i.am, everyone's coming through my crib, so we could go to QD3's crib. You know what I'm saying? And it all became, he really sparked a lot for a lot of people. I don't even know how much he realizes it. You know what I'm saying? Who
Yeah.
went on to do shit in a major way, not just like light. You know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah, no, just having those like little incubation moments like for people that just like I don't know, it's just crazy to think about that being like one of the first like it's crazy to think about that being one of the first examples like of y'all having a place to kind of see stuff and develop in whatever way you did because then I think about like all the camps that Al used to do and like how like that would transition over to like what stuff like that stuff like Mac Miller and them would do with like
like,
all of them and it's just
where do you
like
think we all learned it from? I bet if
ex-
you do like a big tree, a lot of it comes from QD3 without even knowing it. Because it's like, okay,
right.
I Red Foo, who is LMFAO, he's son of Barry Gordy,
Right. Mhm.
and Trip Out, and he's half Swedish. So like Barry Gordy had who had Stefan with a Swedish woman, and QD3 is Quincy Jones' son, and he had Quincy with a Swedish woman, and they didn't know each other. And I introduced them. It's like, what the fuck? Like, yo, this is crazy. Like, yo, like, and they both speak Swedish. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, come on now. There's so much golden moments about that era. Ahmad, will.i.am,
Yeah.
DJ AM, Alchemist, Scott Kahn, Rocka. Just think of everybody who was like pulling up, and then all the people. That's just from my crew of everybody I told about. But then his thing was fully functional before I even realized who he was. So you got to imagine. I got to see Everlast before House of Pain. There, I got to see
Right.
all these people. At the crib, and it's just like I was just a graffiti artist. But to me, it was like the perfect link because hip hop embodies part of the elements of graffiti embodies part of the elements of hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right. This all makes sense.
Yo, it like before we move on, I'm still stuck on the fact that you introduced Q3 to Son from LMFAO. Like that's
No,
pretty nuts.
QD3, QD3,
QD,
Q3 is
yeah.
somebody I work with
Sorry,
now. That's a
sorry,
different kid
QD3. That's
from
what I
Philly.
meant.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
fault.
not,
That's what I meant.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I meant.
And now I work with my homie Q3. How fucked up is that? It's all so crazy to me. Everything is crazy. Who
Yeah,
played a
man.
big part of a lot of the stuff I've been doing. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's incredible, man. And yeah, I mean, like, of course, you mentioned Raka, and like the two of y'all are like two thirds of Dilated, and so and I mean, like at this point, you're already doing graffiti, and like you haven't
yeah,
even right. So and you're like you and because I mean, like I know you and Raka were both graph artists at the time. Like,
I
were
met
y'all?
Rocka through graffiti. Yeah, I met him through
I
graffiti. But I used to
thought so.
go. Me and Alchemist used to go to the hip hop shop where Rocka worked. There was an open mic there, and we go rap. So we
Right.
met him there, and then yeah, we met through graffiti. But we had met earlier rapping as well, or I don't. Maybe the orders flipped, but either which way, it was all like, yeah, Rocka was around pretty damn early in the sense of when I really wanted to start rapping. I had been doing it for a little bit quietly without telling anybody, but not much. When I met Rocka was when I was kind of like starting to find my mission of like I want to do this.
Right. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, when you knew music was going to become more than just a hobby for you.
Yeah, right around then, like QD3s. I think my mom gave him $100 to record a demo maybe or something like that. You know what I mean? Or did something, but I got
Yeah.
on a mic over there, tried it out, got to hear what it was like. You know what I mean? Around then is when it was all shaping, like 14, 13, 14, 15. The idea of it was far from fleshed out yet.
Right. When
Yeah.
so I mean, like, when did things really start to become more fleshed out for you? Like, when did you know that it was like, oh, this isn't just like a fun thing that I could do, or like, like a thing that's like, oh, like I got $100, let me get this demo made. Like, when was it like, okay, like I'm rapping? My fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the Real Notes Patreon one time. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive goodies like video of every interview, 2-day early access to every interview, an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, exclusive access to the Real Talk Movie Night archive, and early pre-sale links for all live events. If you want to give a little more, you get other exclusives like retro 60-second movie reviews and monthly 90-minute workshops with me, where we can discuss whatever creative questions or projects you might have going on. Head over to patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES to join right now. I repeat, all videos will only be available on the Patreon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to my patrons. Now let's get back to talking. Like, we're gonna do this
Yeah,
for real.
not. I did. I got on a couple open mics somewhere and got in front of a crowd and tried it out, and it wasn't. It worked out. I don't remember how good or bad I did, but I remember like getting off and people being like, "That was dope," or like getting some kind of like something that made me want to keep going. You know what I mean? Kind of
Mm-hmm.
encouragement. And then I would say probably 15, 14, 15. Around then, Alchemist was rapping. Will was rapping. Everyone was rapping at that point, right around there. So like ninth grade, 10th grade, something like that.
Right. I mean, and then like we don't got to go through the whole story here. Like, the rest is history. Like, y'all really like you hit the ground running. Dilated Peoples happens. Y'all really make an impression. Everybody splits off and does their solo stuff. You know, like of course, like you really, I mean, like you really make an impression with the Weatherman stuff. Um, like I'm just because I know that because like you rap, you produce, you're a photographer, you're a graffiti artist. Like this is a multidisciplinary corner. Like I'm big on multidisciplinary stuff. So like I'm always curious to ask people like and like I know your late mother was a photographer and you kind of took it on like after she passed. um
Right.
but since that happened, like has the way you rapped or make music ever influenced the way you take pictures, or has graph ever influenced the way you make music? Like do those are those things in conversation with each other at all, or is it like
The
box
cliche
box?
answer is yeah. Like the cliche answer is yeah, because like one is composition, the other's composition, one is highlights, the other's highlights. I guess you can do that, but I find them to be different. I, what is the jack of all trades, master of none thing is funny because they don't say the line that comes after it, right? Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's a line that comes after it that what is I don't know if you could look it up because I'll quote it wrong, but it's like jack of all trades, master of none. Everyone says that, but then the saying says
Though oftentimes
jack
better
of
than a
all.
master of one.
Right. So
That's
then
yeah.
boom. So it's like they make it like being a master of one thing is just better than like experimenting with all things and maybe never being the apex of any of them, I guess. But what I'm finding out is it really has nothing to do with talent. It's more about repetition and modeling and branding, because even if I'm a rapper and today I say, oh, I'm a producer now and I make a great beat, and people go, that's a great beat. I'm still going to have to get in line behind 20 years of Alchemist making a great beat every day for 20 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you can't you can't just win because you can't like out you can't rap yourself out of it or make a beat out of it, or I can't just go take 100 photos tomorrow and just say. I think even though those photos could be great, I think the repetition of it is really what tells somebody what you are. And
Right.
if you can find a way to be a producer and a rapper, or a photographer and a rapper, or then that's a trick, because it's really hard to make people believe that you're two things, even when you are. I
Oh
think we
wow.
like to just think people are one thing, you know.
I
And so, but I love my photography. I think the truth of anything is in innocence is the root of everything. And so, my kid is 9. A lot of things he says are very pure and innocent, and it's very touching because of the way of the purity. And so the somebody who takes on a certain hobby, I mean takes on a certain thing as a hobby and not as a profession, usually has the purity in them, because the monetary thing isn't there. You still got to have a skill set, you still got to be good at it, but the purity in it, even in a bad photo of a hobby person, is pure. So I think uh maybe I leave the photography out as a profession and I just keep that pure for when I want to do it. You know what I mean? And then
yeah.
deal with trying to keep music pure, and because that gets clouded also.
Right.
Instead of trying to be a professional at everything is tricky. But um, yeah, I love photography, and when I all to say is when I take the photos or make the photos, as my friend says, you don't take them, you make them. I'm really in the moment of that. I'm not thinking about bars or like anything else. I'm really in the moment of the photography. It's pure to me, and so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why maybe that people like some stuff I do. And the second it gets away from that, I'll tell you a funny story. I have a cousin who's a big photographer. She's in the family as well. She was inspired by my mom, and she's massive. And she got me a gig because she was impressed with what I was doing with photography. And it turned out the gig was to shoot another rapper who I already know for Spin Magazine. And I turned it down because I couldn't imagine seeing that person. And he's like, "What up, man? What you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm here to shoot you." Right? Like twirl for me. Like I can't. Like
It's
that's
funny as
out of
hell.
my wheelhouse. So it shows me I'm not really a photographer for hire. It is it's only within the passion,
Right.
purity mode. You know what I mean? I'm not, but you know,
Okay,
so
I gotta
it'll be
ask
what
then.
it'll be.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
How often do you take photos? Is it just kind of like a spur of the moment, like let me bust out the camera and do a couple shots type thing when you see something cool, or like are you like
Well,
going out like yeah.
when Instagram started, it was a photography app, and I was
Uh-huh.
on it early, and so it was like motivation because it was like I people would ask about my music, and I would pretend it wasn't me, and like it was like really just about the photos, you know what I mean, and whatever. And then, pardon me, I'm just rolling this last thing up, and then I got a passion for it once I got a real camera, not just shooting it on an iPhone, and then like anything else, I shot and I worked really hard for a short period of time, but going really hard to learn the camera, like how it works and how it works, not like nothing, everything manual and just really understanding it. And once I figured that out, then I didn't feel the need to shoot as much, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like
So the learning curve of it, the learning curve, I'll always learn, but now I'm moving more into composition and more into other things. Whereas like my f-stop, my shutter, my ISO, like I have a clear understanding of what I'm looking for there now. I don't have to like worry about that side of it. I understand it. You know what I mean? And how the best on how they all work together in relation. You know?
right. Yeah. Yeah, no, 1,000. Yeah, I mean, like, I would expect nothing less from a person who ended their latest album with a song called Dutch Angle. Like that's
Dutch
like,
angle. Let's
yeah,
go.
nah, like you don't just do that type of thing just because like it sounds cool. Like that's like very much somebody who's like about composition and understands the way it goes. Um, but before we move on to other stuff, I want to talk a little bit about the production aspect that you mentioned. Just like just kind of being in a position where you're like you had kind of alluded to just like giving stuff to people, but not necessarily like or rather like being in like selection for things. I don't know if I was reading too much into that, but like when you first started producing and like giving other beats to people, like were there any moments where you worked with somebody that you really wanted to work with and were like, here's a beat, and they were like, I don't really know if I'm feeling this, bro, when you first started?
Well, that happened a lot. But then I was smart enough to realize that I'm not going to keep pressing somebody who doesn't like what I'm doing. So then I just found like-minded people. That's all.
Word.
The, the,
Who
a lot of my
I'm sorry.
beat, a lot of my beats, a lot of my early work of production, I give a lot of credit to Defar too, because he was in a much more mature place than I was in life and in rapping, and he had a real understanding of what he was looking for. He wasn't. I'm sure he still does. He makes his own stuff now too. He makes fire beats, but I knew like I couldn't really fuck around too much. Like I wanted to get a beat to him. You know what I mean? And I knew there were parameters of
Yeah.
things that he would like better than others. So he was a really good gauge for me on how to like take it serious and try to play the right things for the right people.
Mm-hmm. And as you started doing
Given
that, sorry, what were you saying?
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Um, like so like as you started to do that, when was the earliest moment you could remember that you gave a beat to somebody else and they not only liked it, but you were like, yeah, like that's the one I hoped you'd take, or like when did you have like a kind of breakthrough moment when producing a song for somebody else?
I got lucky off the rip. The Far Eye, there's a song called The Bionic. That was the
Yeah.
first beat I made for him. And I really needed to like make a statement at that point. I really wanted to get a beat out in the scene of like fat beats and everything that was going on, press a vinyl up.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this thing and I played it for him and he really fucked with it right off the rip, and it made a bunch of noise and I knew the beat was going to work. And then the way he rapped to it was perfect to me. And then I had a validation moment where I went to a rap battle I think Sway and Tech were hosting it. It was at the Palladium in LA, and the rap battle was getting down to the finals or whatever, and maybe the finals or before it, and the dude they were throwing on instrumentals for people to rap on, and the dude's turn came up and they threw on the Bionic beat, and when the beat dropped before he rapped, the crowd went crazy, and I was just like, oh, that's the illest shit that ever happened right there,
That's so special. And yeah, like for it to be judged and like or moderated by Sway and Tech, like that's like such a
Yeah.
pure like late 90s, early 2000s type of like rap moment. Like that's like the shit that like when I first started doing my own research and like really getting into stuff like that, I was just like, because we're in a moment now that we'll talk about later that I'm very happy and grateful to be kind of like a part of and documenting. But it's like you look back on stuff like that and it's just like, damn, if I was there 20 years ago, like I wish I was, it's like, like you read about stuff and you see pictures and it's like, damn, like I wish I was there 20 years ago. Like it's just, that sounds like one of those like magic moments.
There's a version of that today on the internet, whatever the fucking version is, but there's a version of it, modified version.
Yeah, things just move faster because of the internet and kind of like shit is a little more collapsed than it used to be. But we're also kind of at a point where I feel like people are moving slightly away from that democratized aspect of the internet and are really embracing regionalism in a way they might not have been like even 3, 4, 5 years ago. I was just having a conversation about this with somebody else.
It's impressive. It is.
Yeah, it makes me happy because and you're like and it's not even like it's not even a disciplines thing. It really is just like we're in X state or Y city and this is what we do, and like the internet's kind of being used more as a way to like connect to people in your backyard versus like, I mean, like everybody, like there's so many connections being made like across states and across countries and oceans, continents, whatever. But it's just like, it's just cool to me. It's just cool to me to see that type of thing happen. And like, it means, and like you said, like it means something different. It's a little more modified than what it was before. And like, there's still plenty of like live moments and like these, like perfect example. I was at the Arm& Hammer and Alchemist show they did at Central Park when Haram came out. And like, that felt like some classic, like you need to be outside, like in like in a different era, this would be in a magazine type of moment. Like every indie rap person in the whole tri-state area was there. Like it was like, that was like a place to be, and it felt like history in the traditional sense of like, this is a moment that needs to be documented and I'm here and experiencing it. Like the memories live in the brain type shit, like that type of, it was beautiful. I can't put it into words. I wish I could.
Nah, but you got to keep in mind, I wasn't on the stage. I had nothing to do with it. It was just like, right. I was just in the crowd just to see it. You know what I mean? Just sitting in there watching it like everybody. It would be similar to like a guy now who mixed the Arm & Hammer record, and he's sitting in the crowd. Like, bet y'all didn't know that I mixed this.
Right. Hey, like, that's just important. That shit's important though. Like you did contribute to it at the very least. So it's like
in a major way. But I'm just saying, you're just in the crowd, just tripping off of it. You know what I mean? It's not like you're on the stage celebrating it. That's how it was. Yeah.
Right. Totally. And I mean, like, kind of a weak segue, but just like on some fan shit, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I really love the Jim Dean video so much, man. Like you and Jason Goldwatch just did some like incredible work with that. It's real fun. Like I remember when it came out and watching it and just like taking in like all the I was watching an interview where you were just talking about how that was just like a bunch of your old haunts and y'all just kind of like went to a bunch of different places in your area. And then of course, like the t-shirts and just like having the images of like the $3 bill and the lottery ticket and you with the gun being pointed at your head and just like, hey, like,
fucks me up because it's like he had to go make those shirts ahead of time to know what was going to be there. So I'm like, you're sick in the head. So you planned out that I'm going to hold the lottery ticket, and then you're going to take a photo of that, and then you're going to go make a T-shirt that's going to take 2 months to make or a month to make, and then we're going to go shoot this video once all the shirts are made of the shots you thought of. Okay. I was like, just point, I'll rap. Just show me how it works, you know? And then he put it all together. To me, that it doesn't come across as like, it might be like, okay, I'm rapping in Alchemist Studio. I have a shirt of flowers, and then it goes into the shirt of flowers, and now I'm at that place in the shirt, and that just looks cool. It's like, oh, that's cool. But to think of what it took, like, okay, I have to go shoot at that place, take the photo, make the shirt, then put it on at Alchemist, and we'll zoom into it. Then you'll be in that location. You'll have the next shirt that'll lead to the next thing. It's pretty intricate mind that it came to put that together. He's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Nah. Like that's yeah. Like that's not like amateur shit. Like that's a really lofty, ambitious idea. And you
Yeah.
know, like the shirts, and then of course at the end, like there's like the shot of you throwing the grenade on top of like the 6 or 7 or however many shirts there are. I mean, I know y'all sold a handful of them. Do you still have any of those shirts?
I have a couple in my drawer. I just saw them, but they're kind of like old and getting messed up. That's just from an era. If you have it, you have it. That's it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious because like just like rewatching the video, I'm like, that's like history. You know, like once again, like that's like one of those like artifacts that like if you have the evidence $2 bill T-shirt, like that's just I don't know. That feels like a
Fire.
really nifty, cool collector's item type shit. I don't have any of them. I wish I did, but you know,
One
just
day.
yeah, maybe one day. I was lucky enough to go to Makami's show that he played at Jazz at Lincoln Center back in November. I wrote about it for the site that I write for called Hearing Things. And I got the ticket for free because I covered the event. So I was like, you know what? I know Mock be going crazy with them prices, but like, let me spend $80 on a T-shirt. And like having, it's just like this T-shirt with him on it. It's got the statue that's in the middle of Columbus Circle because like he did it right before Thanksgiving as like a fuck you to Christopher Columbus type thing. It was really cool. But you know, just like having that, thinking to myself like I'm excited to look back on that in 5 years and be like, damn, like I was really there and I have the shirt to prove it. And like I can just like wear it out if I want to.
I have a mock shirt that's too big. I don't know. What size shirt you wear?
I'm like an XL, double XL.
Yo, I got
Depends.
this one. I'm gonna send it to you. It's just been sitting in my shit forever. It's probably worth all kind of fucking money. It's like a polo shirt, but it's Makami instead of polo. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I know exactly the shirt you're talking. You that's so crazy. Wow. Yo.
Give me your address. I'm sending it to you.
Damn, nah, man, stop it. Don't do that to me.
Oh no, people collect shit. I don't collect, man. I'm not good at it. I'm a bad collector.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit too good of a collector. So, you know, I like my ears perk up, you know?
No, this shirt's been sitting there.
I might take you up on that afterwards.
$500, yeah, I'm sending it to you. Take that.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, bro. Damn. So another thing,
a lot of people went. I didn't go, but I didn't get to go, but he did that shit in LA. A lot of people said.
Yeah, the three-peat shit, right? Mm-hmm. Damn, man. Yeah, no, I heard he sold the Gat for like $15K or some crazy shit like that to somebody who had $15,000 to spend on a record, which like shout out to them, but
they do that shit with shoes all the time.
Yeah, they do. You know, yeah, I mean like I'm not somebody who's tripping about the valuation of art. I just I just think about the fact that I'm not in a position to spend $15,000 on anything, you know, like never mind an album. Like if it's good enough and I want it and I have the bread, I'll do it. But like, you know, just like shout out to that person who was just like, yep, I'll take it. You know,
take this over a really nice Rolex. I'm going with this.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I'm gonna put that out there. I would. You know, that feels like something that would, um, you know, like as long as it's something that you can have and appreciate and pass it down to your kids if they want it, like, you know,
Fuck
the
it.
value,
Fuck
the
it.
value, yeah, yeah, beauty and values in the eye of the beholder, bro.
Straight
Like,
up.
um, so in the past, you've talked a lot about how like the character, the concept of the Weatherman was like an arc of your career, especially coming off of making music as a part of Dilated, that you needed to kind of like dead in order to move on to the next chapter, which you kind of like very succinctly ended with Whether or Not, which like album's so fucking crazy. Like I said, I was listening to that shit in the gym like last week. Like I think it was Jim Dean and the John Wayne song. Those are the two that
Mm-hmm.
really got me through a workout. So, you know,
Tight.
like that
Tight.
just but you know, like
That's
that
what's
next
up.
chapter, nah, man. But yeah, like that next chapter has led to a bunch of different things. You know, like you started the Squirrel Tape series and producing for yourself and for other artists, and of course, you know, the Unlearning series. But I wanted to focus a bit on the stuff that you've made for others. Like, I mean, like you and Blue you and Blue put out an album last year. You and Damo have put out two projects over the course of the last however many years. I think I told Doms this. I reviewed you and his album for Pitchfork, the second one, intros, outros, and
Okay.
interludes.
Okay.
And yeah, like, I was just happy to get a chance to do that because I love No Idols. You know, like that was like you know, like that. I got No
That's
Idols sitting somewhere in my bin, but like
crazy.
I think you and Doms have a really fun, interesting chemistry. Like y'all are kind of these monotone's not the right word, but y'all have like a very similar vocal register and a very similar like ear for production that makes it fun to just kind of sit in what the two of y'all do. So like I guess I'm just curious about like, you know, like as a rapper yourself who occasionally raps over their own beats, but you know, like on your solo albums, you tend to kind of go over other people's stuff. Is there ever a difference between making beats for other people and making beats for yourself?
The it's tough. The production. Hold on one sec.
Mhm.
The production side of it is tricky. Sometimes there's two sides. One, it's like simply you could just spend a long time on a beat and you know all the inner workings of it, and by the time it's done or ready to rap, you might feel like this isn't as new to me as when somebody just hits play and I don't know how any of that shit was made, and I just get to hear a beat without thinking about how the drums are programmed or anything. I just hear it kind of like one piece of music, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's the other side that's like I got all these great people around me. And so like, do I just say this rhyme on my beat just because out of ego, or I know I can go drive to Al's down the street and probably get a beat that's going to be crazy for that same rhyme. And so sometimes I just cave in, and like something I wrote to my shit, I'll end up spitting it to somebody else's shit just cause. But the last
Mhm.
few years, like producing Damo and Blue and doing my own label, I've done Flyanakin and Boldy and Theravada and Raka,
Yep.
and I've been hitting them out left and right because production was something like we were talking about before. You can't really make a real impression until you repeat and do it over and over. You know what I mean? And so starting the label made me find my angle on it. Like, oh, this is mine, and now I can do my best beats for things I do on my own label.
Right.
And so like seeing Blue pick a lot of beats and love it, and then we put out the LA record and get good reactions, and Boldy and people that I respect pick my shit, but not even like picking it out of like that's not no sympathy pick. Like I fuck with this for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that made me feel like started to give me more confidence. It was like pull up your laptop or things like that, and then I get a joint on Helter Skelter album because I'm just at there. The Kanye thing happened at the right time. A lot of things
Right.
were just placements. I never had the opportunity to make full body of work. Even if I had 6 songs on the album, it was still just like 6 songs that made their vision versus me actually getting to be the producer. Like, and so yeah, that doing full bodies of work and having it being received well has definitely changed my mind in the last few years. And so and I also feel like you spend time with anything, you get better. So
Yeah.
but I've done it. I got to work with Navy Blue, but then I got to but then he made the joint a video. It was a single. It wasn't just a deep cut. You know what I mean? And things like this where I'm like, these are like signals to me, like, okay, because these are people I look up to. You know what I mean? And so it's like, this is dope. And
Right.
I think this is my last Rhymesayers album contractually. I just finished it, and so now I get to
Oh,
move
word.
myself over. Yeah, I get to move myself over to my own label. And my rule of my label is I have to produce it. So now I've put myself I've given myself parameters now. So I think the next record will get, even if it's not Unlearning or weather related, and whatever the next one is from me will probably be something I produce. And then, I can get back to working with Rhymesayers in a couple of years and do Unlearning 3. Or, I can still keep the relationship open and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I
Because
mean, like,
I
first
do,
time,
this
like,
is a
first.
part 2 is going to lead to part 3. I kept it open ended on both the first one and 2. Like, where are we going from here? And then
That's.
Dutch Angle's like, freedom, take it where it lead them, and then it's done. So it's like, I both wanted these to feel like, and then what's going to be next? You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely noticed that listening to Dutch Angle and thought that was,
Yeah.
and like the thing, like there's there's a lot I want to address in what you just said, but since we're here, like, like I think, like I think a lot about you saying that I don't normally do part twos, and then to see you, and then to see Unlearning Volume 2 happen, just like what was it about Unlearning Volume 1 that compelled you to make it a series? Because yeah, you don't really do, you don't, I mean, like, repetition is a part of like what you do as an artist, but it's never really been a part of like the packaging process, like you're not really like a series person, or you weren't.
No, never been really.
So like,
I had an instrumental series, like Squirrel's a series, and I had red tape,
right.
green tape, yellow tape, those. But yeah, for the most part, you're right. Whether or not and Weatherman are weather related, but they're not like a sequel per se. So
Right.
the well, I knew I was doing part 2 when I called it Volume 1, because otherwise you're not going to do that. So that was the setup.
Yeah.
It was just like, I have to do that. And then I felt like Unlearning is a growing process. So Volume 1 was like me recording a demo on my handheld mic, like Pardon Me or Shark Smell Blood or Start the Day with a Beat, and then not going to Alchemist to re-record it on the good mic. It was like, keep the demo take. If I'm starting over and I'm making my first album, most people's first records were demos when they didn't have the good shit. And then that led them to get a record deal and go make the real record. So leave Unlearning 1 like in the demo phase or in the unmixed sound or the like that, and then leave room for it to grow. And then so this one was like, that one picked up. I made a few adjustments here. I got a better mic, so if I record the demo now, it's on a good mic and I could just keep it. You know what I mean? And things, but the mentality's still there. And then Volume 3 would be like, okay, now I'm moving back into like, let's go do this one at the big studio maybe, or something like that, and just evolve the sound of Unlearning the same way the first Dilated Peoples record sounded dirtier than the third one. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Totally.
so the evolution of the volumes is really like, a lot of it has to do with sound, not just like content per se, And so
Right.
there was that. And then I figured Unlearning is not something that's easily definable or that's like a light thing to unpackage. So keeping volumes open of it, because you can't unlearn and be done. It's something that has to keep happening. And so having this new series is like a new series, diversifying my series. And but the Volume 2. So the way I figured I'd tie it in and make sure it was consistent was take some of the beats that didn't make the first one and then start the second one with those beats, because I knew I had grouped them in my mind already. So some of these beats I have on this, not the rhyme per se, some of the rhymes, but most of them not. But some of the beats are from the batch of Unlearning 1, like Beat Butcher.
Which, yeah, I was gonna ask it.
Yeah, Beat Butcher tried to give me different phases for the first one, you know, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then Jay Electronica wanted to rap on it, so I made it short, and then he was going to do it, and then that didn't pan out. And then I was like, all right.
Damn.
And then, but it's all good. It's all good. And so I was just like, boom, click. That's it. That's the truth right there. A lot of this album, I cut the fat. So it's like song making is funny because it's like you put the 8-bar intro on it, and you repeat the chorus at the end, and it's like now it's a long song. Like, but if I just start rapping off a drum roll and there's no intro, and I don't say the chorus again after the last verse, it's the same song, just minus a little of the fluff. And so a lot of this record has that, where I just cut it where I wanted to. I didn't just like have gratuitous YouTube talking for another minute just to make it a 4-minute song, you know?
Yeah. Which, you know, I mean, like, not to say that there isn't still a little bit of that peppered throughout.
No, there is. There's plenty of it. No, there's plenty of it, but I just made it in the right place for the right reason instead of just using it as like a bridge to just buy time.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, like, I gotta ask the philosophical question of like, what were you, was there anything in particular that you were unlearning while you were making these albums?
In my life, bro. Everything outside of music. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just some of my greatest accomplishments in the time period is like 2 school years with no tardies. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shit like that. It's not all just rap shit, but everything feeds into one another. So yeah, learning a lot about myself. I made this record under a time period of not all happiness, nothing really nothing perfect about it at all. A lot of beauty. You know, the life shit is crazy because when you're having those life moments and you're by yourself, and you know, if somebody added a violin string, it would be when people were watching and they would all have a tear moment. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody doing that shit. It's just you and doing it. So you either get strong and do it or you don't. And that's so learning just to, you know, not hurdle up in a corner and just the option of I'm going to pull through it. Like really putting this album out as a person who was dabbling in moving to the hills and becoming weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and got it and went to the barber and got a cut and said, fuck it, I'm gonna come back up. You know what I mean? Nah, fuck, I ain't ready for that quite yet. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm proud that I'm just pulling this shit together for real. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, and you know, like being able and like not having to do it alone, I'm sure is really, really cool, just in the sense of like you're rhyming on other people's beats. There's a decent amount of features on here, and everybody brought their A game. You know, like you and Larry are going back and forth, and he's getting more ruminative than he gets on record sometimes. You and Doms are doing your thing. Like just like you guys always sound amazing together. The Blue record, the Conductor Williams. Sorry, what?
No, the coolest thing that's happened is this is just the coolest moment of this record is that this is a reflection of my life, in the sense that like Blue is over, Damo is one of my great friends. You know, it's like the people who are here are real contributors, and it's and Larry, you know, he had me on his record first, which was a complete honor. You know what I mean? And then like, so this makes sense in so many ways, and it's like, this is actually, there's no like there's nothing bought or nothing here. It's just what's going on, and this is the little batch I put together, and there's more, you know what I mean, but this is the one for this series right now for part 2. And
for sure,
yeah, you know, and so that's really cool. It's just like, yo, the production in a weird way, even though I dipped out as a rap, I've done a couple features and it popped up here and there. I did a joint with Che Noir and Droog, and I did one with Larry, and I was on the Gangrene, and I did a few things here and there that felt like, yeah, I need to do that. But for the most part, I put my head into the production, and that's dangerous. But the cool part is like for the people who really have supported my label and are like, see what I did on that side of it, I might have lost some fair weathers, but I definitely gained some diehards, you know? And
Yeah.
so that's dope to me.
Right. I agree. And you're like that. And I mean, like, as somebody who's kind of, first off, shout out to Bigger Picture Recordings. Like, that's the label. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you've been doing really dope shit over there for a while. And like, I just like that ethos of just like, like losing the fair weathers but gaining the diehards is like, I'm dealing with that in like a very, in like, I don't want to say smaller ways, but just like fostering a Patreon community around this podcast and getting people to kind of come over to this new venture with hearing things that I started with my 4 other co-writers, and like kind of having that be a site that I 20% own. And like, you want people to like be in on the ride, but like
Yep, yep.
it can be like really, it's just, like, it's tough and scary to be in that position where it's just like, are people gonna come fuck with me for me, and not because like you're attached to Rhymesayers or you're attached to Alchemist or you're attached to whoever, like there's no guarantees
Right.
that people are gonna make that jump. But but like, but like when they do, like those are the 30, 40, 50 people who are gonna buy everything you put out. They're gonna, like, they're gonna go down for the for
That's
the
the
cassette.
beginning right
And
there. And then it's just, how do
yeah,
I get another zero
exactly.
onto that and then another zero onto that after, you know? But it's like,
Right. Yeah.
yo, it starts with 30. Who give a fuck?
Yeah.
Trust me.
Easy, man.
Those are
Yeah,
the
like
ones.
it's
Those
just
are the
like,
ones. Yeah, those are the ones. Man, I
yeah.
know most
And
people till
like,
this day. You know, that's the funniest part.
yeah. Yeah, no, like one of the big treats of going back through like your old interviews and stuff is just like seeing, I can't remember the last time I seen a rapper with this many stories of people being like, "Oh, I met this person. Oh, I met him in like Germany, and we talked at the merch booth for like 20 minutes," or like I saw him outside, or like I saw him at like a coffee shop, and he gave me the time of day and signed my record, or did this, that, and like that stuff really goes a long way with people. Like when you're just like one of the things I've always loved about your music and just like kind of you as a figure is just like you're a person, like there's no, and you're like, that's been a big part of you. The whole Weatherman process is just kind of you kind of obliterating the barrier between Evidence the person, and, or excuse me, Evidence the rapper, and Michael the person. Like
Totally.
you've talked about that a
And
lot.
and
And
that's where I taught this new album isn't as deep as my last one because I sometimes I think about it. I mean, it might be deeper in a lot of other ways, tone or just sincerity. But as far as like addressing death or this or that, I didn't stayed away from it a little bit more this time. And then I think about it all the time because it's like if I would like Robert De Niro as an actor or somebody, I don't want to hear what they're going through in their life. I want to see the movie that they're doing. And then that's all I'm there for at that time. If I want to find out about the other stuff, I can do it if I look for interviews or want to go search. But when they show up to work, they show up to work. When you were
right,
watching White Chicks, who's to say that anybody in that cast wasn't dealing with some shit at the time? But that's not what the movie plot's about, and that's not what we're doing.
right,
We're not here to bring our Michael to evidence. We're here to be evidence in that situation, you know. And so, but then what I deal with and fucks with me a lot is like, but this is not acting. So I'm like,
right.
some people rapping is acting, but to me, it's becoming less and less, if it ever was, you know. And so I'm not
Right.
saying when we were young we didn't have a front up or we weren't trying to emulate. We were doing all that, but now I'm not at that point. So I'm like, all right. So do I just talk about rapping and try to find syllables that are interesting that rhyme with each other, or do I try to tell you what's going on? And so it's a teeter. It's something that I'm battling with a lot as far as how much to let it. And the reason is a lot of my personal life is not all fun and happy. There's a lot of moments
Right.
that are difficult, you know. And so it's like, do I want to bring people into that? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The times that I have been gratifying, you know. And then the part that sucks is at some point, somewhere, it can feel like you're selling sympathy, and it's the nastiest shit in the world to me. So it's like if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, man.
if it's real and when it's real, do it. And otherwise, if it's not, then you just gotta stay away from that shit. And I've been in more of like a numb place, like I'm gonna get through it. Like I was saying, instead of crawling up in a ball, so more of like I'm gonna hold my head up even when I'm not feeling like holding my head up type of attitude. So I think that's where I'm at with it. But it is tough to try to decide. I love rappers who are totally open books. They're the best ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like it takes a lot of balls when your life is not all good. It's easy to do when your life is fun and you're young. When you get older, it becomes tougher to sell that. So,
I'm sure, I mean, like,
yeah.
even just looking at, like, like, I like it would take a lot for me to reveal the type of stuff that you reveal on By My Side too. Just like talking about like
Right.
having a partner going
No,
through,
I had to do that song though. I didn't write that song. That like I looked at a piece of paper and it was there and I said it's like a big, those are the moments where you have to do what you have to do, where it just happens. You know what I mean? And it's like
right.
so it's just one of those moments where you're like, okay. And then I have regrets about that song because the song didn't end the way it was supposed to end as far as that song goes. So then there's like fuck. So yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough because I loved Rakim and I didn't really all the way know about his personal life too much. You know what I mean? And so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you do it right, you don't have to do that. But if it's there and you choose to do it, there can be a reward if once again, if it's pure and for a reason that is true.
Right. Absolutely. And like there's two songs
because
on
there's genre, there's emo rap now, there's emo rap, there's whole genres of shit that's like based around this. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
it's not as it's out there, but
right.
yeah, that's not the box I ever dreamed being in, and some of that shit is my favorite too. But I think when life happens, you can either say, okay, I'm gonna be an actor and I'm just gonna keep rapping about the things I want to and use my imagination, and I don't have to succumb to like talking about everything personal. I still have enough creativity to write dope shit without having to fall into that. Or you can just say, you know what, this is my life and this is the song and this is what's going to happen. I think there's a place for both.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's and it's all on y'all to decide when those places are. Like there's two moments on Unlearning Volume 2 that really struck me in that sense. It's the two are Seeing Double and Nothing to See Here. Like those two songs really those two songs kind of exemplify the balance between like what should I say here, how much do I want to give up, like those two songs are just like really incredible balancing acts of like, is this something I need to be doing? Do I want to give all of myself to these people? Like, how do I do this? Or like, how about I just talk, and like, I love that about those two songs. Like, I mean, like you talked a lot about bigger picture and, like your goals for that, and all the stuff that you've made and photos you've taken and all the music you've made. One thing that makes me really happy about the direction you're going in is that like you're a veteran, you've been doing this for a good little minute, and you are very generous with your time with the younger generation, like people like Zen, like Theravada and Sage and Damo and like all these people, and like Blue to a certain extent. Like these are people who are like vanguards of a certain generation of rap listener, and you are very active in working with them. Like you made my favorite beat on a Sideshow album. It was the Wagatha tapes. You made my favorite beat on Wagatha tapes.
Oh.
Yeah, come on, bro. Yeah, like I like yeah, no, shout out to Holly. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.